Hi, this is Concetta D'Emma, and welcome to this video interview to Milena. And I'm the founder of Uncommercial hotels, and this is a hangout, and we're going to talk to Milena about her experience, about her problems when she has to travel and to find an accommodation that satisfy her special food needs. That's it. So, hi Milena, how are you? Tell about us.
I'm fine, great. My name is Milena. Nice to meet you guys. And I'm on a gluten-free diet. For the last 2 years, and I have noticed, tremendous amount of problem when you travel in different places.
Excuse me, Milena. What do you do in your life, first of all? Talk about you, first of all. If you travel also just for vacation, for work, what do you do?
I'm digital marketer and photographer, and I usually travel for my private, just private travels around Europe for workshops and for like a training.
Where you from, and where do you live?
I live right now in England, close to London, but I'm from Poland. Yeah.
Okay. So I imagine you have special food necessities you were talking about. So tell about your food necessities, and when you discover you needed something different, what has changed in your life also?
2 years ago, I was advised by my doctor that I need to change my diet because of my health condition. I do have an autoimmune disease. It's called Hashimoto, and because of this reason, I had to start a gluten-free diet and basically not even lactose-free, even dairy-free diet. So it's even more complicated. And it was at the beginning, I was so scared that I'm not going to be able to eat anything because everything contains dairy or gluten. And for a whole month, I was really almost crying because when I checked the ingredients, everything contained those two, kind of forbidden ingredians.
Mm-hmm.
So, but with the time, I've learned how to manage my diet. But traveling it's a really, really hard thing to do.
Yes, tell how do you normally choose an accommodation when you need to travel? If it's also like stressful for you, what happened?
Traveling, it depends where I travel, because if I travel like to the place where I know the people and I'm going to stay with the people who know what are my demands, I'm fine. But if I travel to the new place and I don't know anything, and for example I book a hotel and always I ask them via email or phone about the food, what kind of food they can offer, and usually they are surprised if I'm saying that I'm gluten-free diet and dairy-free diet with no grains like rice and quinoa and buckwheat. So they are completely shocked, and it's quite hard for them and very demanding for the kitchen chefs to figure it out what they're gonna give me.
So normally, what kind of research do you do on Google, for example? What do you write inside?
What do you mean? Like, what kind of search?
What the keywords, for example? What kind of keywords if it's about the breakfast or the food or just the location? How would you like to find a hotel?
Usually, I would love to actually have, that's a new kind of diet, new kind of word for in United States. It became very popular, but it's called Paleo diet, and it's a gluten-free diet which contains meat, but it doesn't have any grains, because that's I can't have any grains and dairy. And this Paleo diet is kind of very close to my diet. I don't eat much meat, but in a case I don't have anything to eat, I eat meat as well. So
Just to survive.
just to survive, just to, if I don't have any option, I can eat, steak, but it's not what I actually would like to choose on, everyday basis. But yeah, it's very hard to find the correct right food for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when you arrive in a hotel, for example, in sort of accommodation, they normally know about your special food needs, or what happen. How do they look to you when you tell what you need?
Usually, if I don't inform them, ahead of time, it's a hassle. But I figure it out that it's better to call the hotel. But in the case it's just not possible to to inform them. And I ask him. When I came, I asked about that. They are shocked and they don't know what to do. It depends on the country. For example, in Spain, I didn't have any problems because the diet is so it's so diverse. They could choose different things, and it wasn't an issue. But for example, living in England, it's very hard to even have French fries, like even wedges, English wedges, which are like a potato, and you would be surprised that they usually have gluten, always, because they make them in the same oil as some other things which contain flour. So it's really shocking. It's almost impossible to get gluten-free diet on the street, gluten-free food on the street. Yeah.
So do you usually have to pack yourself and bring yourself something in order to eat something when you go abroad, when you travel?
Yes, I need to be prepared for traveling, and even if I go to work, sometimes it's really, I go out with my friends to restaurants because I do it, and I love to go to the restaurants. But it happened a few times that I actually was they were so confused and kind of baffled that they didn't know what to give me, and when I asked them, some restaurants are very easy to quickly accommodate, and they are very flexible. They ask me what I would like to eat and how I can combine, what kind of food they can combine so I can eat it. But some of them, they don't give this possibility. They have the strict food, and I just can't, for example, switch rice for bok choy or something else, which is, I can change it when I have to pay extra money for this additional food, which for me doesn't make sense, And yeah, that's what I've noticed. It's quite hard, but it depends on the awareness of allergies in this given restaurant, in this given area. But like, for example, like London, it's a place where you can find different variety of food, but still awareness is not as kind of let's say, it's not, people are not aware that so many people have this allergens, so that could be an issue. Yeah.
And normally, what do you find more often in a breakfast room when you are in a hotel for you that it's more suitable and you feel like safe?
Yeah, usually I order like eggs or omelette or something like that made of out of eggs, or like a salad with some nuts and yeah, usually nuts and eggs or fish for breakfast. Sometimes that happens. Yes, that happens. If you have if you don't have a choice, sometimes you have to do it. So you are hungry, so you can eat whatever it takes because you are hungry.
So in your dreams, you would like to have more choices at breakfast when you are in a hotel, in some accommodation.
Yeah, it would be great.
But what would you suggest to hoteliers? What would you like to find for breakfast?
For breakfast, usually I do not eat gluten-free processed food, which they sell in the shelves in the store. So it's really hard. I'm really, really demanding. So I would love to see, that possibly to eat, omelette with variety of vegetables, or salads, or with eggs inside and some other vegetables besides, just salad and tomato. And what else? It
What
depends.
about bread, sweet, something sweet?
I don't eat any kind of bread, rice breads, anything, what's called bread usually is made of rice, corn, and
Gluten-free bread? No, nothing about this?
no, I don't eat it. That's why it's very complicated. But I know that a lot of people who are on the gluten-free diet, they eat it, but I'm a little bit more complicated with my allergy. So yeah, I need to kind of get along with it and just order omelette. It's perfect. Yeah.
Okay. And I've heard and I've seen myself there are some hotel chains. For example, they have something for breakfast and also in their restaurants gluten-free options. But I've also noticed that, for example, as they told me they have big brands. They don't used to put on the menu the sign of gluten free. So my question for you is, if you see in a restaurant of a hotel chain a gluten free menu, but there is no symbol, no sign about gluten free things, do you feel free? Do you feel safe? Or are you a little bit scared? You are not sure, and maybe the waiter is not going to tell you the truth. What would be your reaction in having a menu without something showing you that it's really gluten free, even though they tell you we don't need it because we are a big brand, you know?
Usually, hotels and restaurants where I go, they do have a gluten-free menu. It's on the main menu information, but some restaurants I've noticed you need to ask first, and they can give you gluten-free menu for people like me. But if they do not have this option, and they tell me that I can just find something for myself, and they can do gluten-free, I always ask what kind of, how do they make it? What exactly, how the process looks? Because some of them, they are not familiar, for example, with the vinegar, with the malt vinegar, that it's gluten, and they tell me that, for example, they give me something with the vinegar, I can see that it's marinated, and I ask, what's that? And they tell me, what's that? And I ask them, can you check the jar, in the ingredients on the back of the jar? And they say, yes, yes. And of course, usually it happened a few times that I had to say thank you very much for the food because it was contaminated. They put, the ingredients. They didn't know that it's gluten-free. They actually thought that it's gluten-free, but they didn't actually know what does it mean gluten-free. They actually thought that it's that gluten-free means that it doesn't contain flour, but gluten is in a lot of different things, a lot of sauces, and a lot of marinated products. So it's just it would be great if restaurants and hotels or people who cook, they're familiar with different allergies and they know what kind of products have this ingredient. So yeah, it's very complicated, and it would be great if they just know what does it mean gluten and where it's possible to find it. And they also need to know that some people are very allergic, and even tiny amount of gluten can cause inflammation in the body for few months, which they don't know. And they think that, oh, how bad they ask you, like, for example, how bad you're going to be? And I'm asking them, do you want to call ambulance, in 10 minutes? That's how bad I'm going to be here. So, what's the risk? And a lot of, for example, I've noticed a lot of Indian restaurants, they want to feel safe. And they say to me that, oh, we cannot guarantee that our meals are gluten-free. So what would you like to order? And I'm like, just water if that's gluten-free. And they're shocked. You know, it's like if they can't guarantee. So what I'm gonna say, you know, like, yes, please, I would like to order something. That's not possible. I want them to guarantee that it's gluten-free and it's not contaminated with gluten. So yes.
Can you tell us what could you risk if you eat something that it's contaminated?
What I can risk, it's just, you know, it's for me personally, it's I do have an inflammation in my body, and it's very complicated. It's very medical, so I'm not going to go into that. But it's just, you know, my health is it can be quickly you know, not destroyed because that's not the word, but I can just, you know, feel terrible and I have a headache. But you know, inflammation, it can go for a few months in my body, and I don't want to do that, you know, because it has some other bad results at the end.
Is it also is it also stressful not only for you, but I imagine if you have a partner, maybe also with your friend, when you have to choose, even though a restaurant or a hotel, is it also stressful for them, not also for you, I imagine?
Yes, actually, it's very stressful for them because my partner is he's vegetarian, so it's really complicated to go. He's vegetarian, so he can eat gluten, and it's even going out with friends. You know, they always, you know, like really they don't know where we should go. You know, to gluten-free restaurant or to, you know, pizza places. Where we should go and meet.
Maybe you're not good friends to invite for dinner, for lunch.
We are so complicated. You know, if we go somewhere, usually I prepare the food for at least for myself, and usually for both of us, or I just tell, they are really like telling me that, oh, please let me know your list and I will make something out of your ingredients. So I just tell them, but I don't want to put people into trouble. So usually I'm just, you know, thinking ahead of time and bringing something with me, so I won't starve when everyone is eating.
Just a few more questions. What do you think about the communication on the buffet breakfast in hotels or in restaurants? And what do you think also, or what have you noticed also about the communication online on a website, even though on restaurant website or hotels website? What do you think about their kind of communication, if you find some kind of communication?
I found that if the hotel, for example, is when it really cares about the customer, it's easy reachable. It's easy to, you know, call them or write email or just use social media for, you know, asking questions, and they are open to help and, you know, just give you advice. But, you know, it depends on the hotel. It depends on the quality of the hotel, and usually for me the quality of the hotel is when they really take care of the customer. So if they think through it and they know, for example, even if they are aware that people have allergies, and they could prepare a list of places around, if they don't offer this kind of food, if they can just, you know, prepare a list of the places I can eat, or like people like me with different kind of allergies, they can where they can find food. You know, it would be fantastic if they can just prepare the food. You know, that's in the worst scenario. Of course, they are just, you know, pushing out the customers out of the restaurant. But if they cannot guarantee that something is gluten-free, what else I'm going to do? I'm going to go and look for a different place. But if they can offer this option, it will be really nice of them, and it will be very helpful. And I'm sure that, you know, customers will be much more happier, and they will be pleased that have this experience. You know.
Okay, and normally, so when you are in a breakfast room, do you find normally some kind of communication that is more safe for you, or normally it's difficult to find some kind of communication on the buffet? There is just the food and that's it.
It depends on the hotel. In better hotels, sometimes it's even I have an access to the main chef, but sometimes it's not possible to even ask anyone because no one is around. So it depends on the hotel. Yeah.
Okay. And on the website, when you see a hotel website, do you find some kind of communication, a special area, or nothing? You just need to call and you need to ask directly.
Mostly I need to call and ask, yeah. It would be great to have information that, for example, hotel is prepared for people with this kind of allergies. And if, for example, if that would be a great option, if someone with the allergies would like to quickly ask the question, and they could have for example, like social media or like a special kind of channel, just to have it for questions with the people who have allergies.
Okay, Milena, last question. What would you answer to those kind of hoteliers or owners in tourism industry that tell always this kind of products, even though if they're organic or gluten-free, they're just a cost and nobody asks us, so there is no demand. We're going to waste so much products, and even though people with no allergies, they are going to eat those kind of products, so it's a cost for us. Everything is a cost for lots of hoteliers. And so, what would you respond? What would you answer to them?
I think it will be. I've never heard that someone has like really strong allergies for vegetables. So, for example, preparing salads and having eggs or something like that, I don't think it's very costly. I think it's just it's just a matter of preparation, and they don't need to have like gluten-free bread. They just need to have eggs, and eggs can be used for normal diet. Of course, there are some people who have allergies for eggs, but they can have option of veggies or something else, So it depends, on allergy, and it depends. Of course, there is so many, such a variety of allergies that it's hard to prepare for everything. That's why I suggested that it's a good idea to have list of, restaurants around or stores where someone can just quickly get food, and it would be a really good idea.
Okay. This could mean also make that others make some business instead of them. So we're going to try with the Uncommercial hotels with this project to make them doing something different in order to increase their business and their brand reputation online and offline. So what do you think about it?
So I think it's a great idea. I completely agree with the idea of unconventional hotels, because you want to spread the word that people travel with these allergies and they look for help, and those hotels can actually increase revenue when they are prepared for this kind of situations. So in an ideal world, it would be great if they have all ingredients and someone can just choose. I think it's a good idea to maybe advise on the website of the hotel that they are prepared, they are ready. It would be, but just customer needs to give them notice ahead of time, 1 day ahead of time, so the hotel can buy ingredients, and be ready for someone with digestive issues.
Okay. Thank you very much, Milena. So you can agree with me that it's a bad idea. It's just a cause, because if you do the right communication, the right things, it will be an advantage in the future. Just a new kind of mindset. Do you agree with this?
Yes, I definitely agree that it's a matter of communication, everything, and you just need to, your customer, you need to let them know that they have this option, and the option is available, and the hotel just need to know ahead of time. That would be great.
Thank you very much, Milena. It was a pleasure to talk to you, and you are very helpful. And I hope lots of hotels are going to listen to you. And this just it's the way for me to success and to find solution together with an unconventional guest like you, as I call you, you know. And so thank you very much, and I'm going to tell everybody want to share with us some experience, even though it's celiac or vegetarian, vegan, write down on YouTube, or you can find me also on my website, uncommercialhotels.com, on my Facebook fan page, on Google+, on LinkedIn, wherever. Write me if you want to be the next unconventional guest and talk about your experience. Let's see how we can help the tourism industry, and how we can help all those unconventional guests. Thank you very much. Thank you, Milena. Bye. Have a good night. Bye.